First informal tests AMD Ryzen leaked online. Before the start of sales of AMD Ryzen still have enough time, but the company was by this time clearly ready. Stocks processors already fairly large, and despite maintaining a veil of secrecy, a certain amount of chips Ryzen still flowing into the hands of enthusiasts. What enthusiast, having caught in the hands of such a valuable find, would refuse the chance to test it and maybe even share test results with the public? This is what happened. The first unofficial test results Ryzen successfully leaked to the world network, as the resource overclock.net. The well-known French enthusiast Doc Teraboule, the member of team of developers CPUZ, has gained access to the chip marked AMD 2D3151A2M88E. This 8-instance Ryzen has a base frequency of 3.15 GHz, which is a bit by the standards of Skylake and Kaby Lake, but pretty well by the standards of the platforms Intel LGA 2011-3. In this model there are two turbo in one of them. All nuclei are accelerated up to 3.3 GHz, in the second sprints of only one core, but to the level of 3.5 GHz. It is clearly not a production instance, but even in this form, the processor demonstrated an average of 35% advantage over the FX8370 at equal clock frequencies, so that the words AMD is about 40% higher IPC index was not empty. The power consumption of a chip has not exceeded 93 watts, so that in the stated heating package advanced micro devices managed to meet. Apparently, embargo, AMD no longer has the same strength as the French enthusiasts managed to publish the results not just the network, but in a real paper edition magazine of the CPC Hardware, Room 31. The new architecture Zen is really good. Perhaps in this case it is somewhat lacking clock frequency, but performance tests in the performance of various instructions, including AVX2, FMA, and E's new processor looks hopeless, even on the background of the Kaby Lake. Unclear about what kind of model Kaby Lake in question, but, apparently, it's a Core i7-7700K, and this CPU basic frequency higher than 1 GHz than that of the test sample Ryzen. However, for the above table this is not essential. The journal also published pivot charts in 3 different categories: productivity in professional applications, gaming performance, and power consumption. Modern games still don't very well know how to use a large number of CPU cores, but like the high clock frequency, resulting in Hero Review, took the middle of the table. But in professional applications well optimized for multi-threading, it successfully won second place, losing only to the Intel Core i7-6900K, and this processor cost over $1,000. To win over the Core i7-6800K also looks pretty convincing. Of course, the French edition uses the French language, but the names of the applications used for the cumulative result, given the original, and the figures are clear to all. It's nice that the level of energy consumption was measured is not a cheap power meter connected between the outlet and the system power supply and the current sensor, capturing the readings directly from the connector of the CPU power, ATX plus 12 volt. So, can you talk about the return to the market of the second processor to the king? I think you can. First, we are talking about pre-production instance of the processor with quite low frequencies, and secondly, even in this case he did well during environments, able to effectively use multi-threading, and the number of such software will only grow with time. Processor for cost-conscious professionals Ryzen is possible to determine. With the use of 14nm process chips Ryzen should be a good idea to accelerate, but if in time AMD will release 6 and 8-core versions of the processor with clock frequencies around the 3.8-4.2 GHz, Intel monopoly on the fastest gaming processors do come to an end. In recent years, Blue Giant has forgotten the meaning of the term competition, but now he has good reason to remember it.